Which I like. One of the things in the library was the connecting community. I feel like that's something that should be kind of in our realm too.
Mm-hmm.
In a different way than what the library might do, but I did like that wording in their mission statement.
Yeah, I think definitely I would want to say building community, because I think that's more, if you think about probably the people, especially those of you with older kids, the people that are your community are your kids, the people they talk with, probably those parents, because you see them at activities, you see them at school functions. Like, schools are really crucial, important places for that, for those relationships that develop, that connection, especially because in a district like this where you guys really have, like, neighborhood schools, you're going to meet kids and families and parents that live around you, physically too. So that school it's the meeting place for that community, for all the grandparents that live in that neighborhood and all the kids that live in that neighborhood and all the parents. Usually schools are, for other organizations will use schools, right? Use space and meet there. So like, it's a community, it's an important community building space for sure.
Which I think could tie, like in the bottom part where it says recommend at least 5 short 10 words or less big thoughts. I think that's one building community we could have in there.
Yep.
Elle, I know you're typing right now, so to distract you, but you've been kind of quiet. I know we were getting feedback, but what do you have to say?
I'm pretty good with everything everybody's been doing. I like the empowering statement. I think empowering, not that I want to copy what the high school is doing, but I think empowering is a really good thought to push towards that, because we are trying to make sure that our children are empowered to do their own thing, because it's all about independence and like growth and becoming their own person, as well as becoming a community member. So having that individual rise above and beyond what they consider to have inside themselves right now into something even greater once they leave the district. So I really do like that statement. I think diversity is a huge one. I'd like to see diversity somewhere in there, only just because, I'm dealing with, a first grader and I'm dealing with a special needs child, and like the programs have to be incredibly different to make sure that both my sons have like what it is that they need to be an engaged community member. And I feel like the district has done a really, really great job of trying to balance that and make sure that the programs that both my children are receiving give them that multifaceted strength.
Well, you bring up a very good point in that when you say diversity, when you talk about diversity for your children and the different programs, oftentimes we think of diversity and we have a committee, board committee of equity and inclusion, because they didn't want to go with the diversity label anymore and changed it. And we often think of cultural, and we don't think of the different inclusion areas that we can get at. It's not just the color of our skin or the religion that we have. It's the family makeup. It's the socioeconomic. It's the what you have going on at your house, the needs of your children, and so I think that is an important piece to put in there. And I think it goes to that global piece too, that community. I think it all goes back to that community. You walk down the street, well, sometimes you walk down the street and, it's not, we all don't look alike, or, it might be different. So we have to know how to be able to interact. Oh, Rich wants to come in.
Well, I think under I think under the building community, empowering learners.
I was going to say empowering student-centered learning. Because I really liked when you said that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I got excited.
Mhm.
So I think I like the idea of empowering student-centered learning because I think that's a move that schools are making anyways, right? Teachers are trying to make curriculum work as well as it can for each individual student, right? Like to the best extent they can. And technology is making that work even better than what it used to be, like even for me in school, and that's why there are some kids that are probably doing really well right now with remote learning because they're, because they have a little more, maybe more opportunity to do that than they might in the classroom setting, So I think, I like empowering student-centered leaders because then it is inclusive because if it's student-centered, then it's students, period, all of them across, wherever they're at in their learning journey, whatever needs they need to have met, the focus is on, what each student needs and that their specific students being empowered. I guess.
Yeah, and to echo that, I liked the word launch and I liked the word ethnicity. I just think that those are more lofty words, and we're looking for a little loft. Like we're launching the future. It's a link to the present to the future, and that we're during their students' time with us, we're trying to authenticate what they need, what their needs are, and try to meet those needs. So to have authentic learning where the child is, and then to bring them to bloom as much as they can bloom in their potential, I guess.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.
I don't have the words that I want, but the gist of it is problem solvers.
Mm-hmm.
In that, it's the old adage, the kids now are going to be solving problems that haven't even been thought of yet.
What about like innovators?
Or ingenuity.
Yeah.
I like innovators. I really like that and I hope that it drives, something like that might drive our curriculum in that it pushes us up into, like I said earlier, higher level thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the only piece that we're still kind of missing from all of this then was getting back to that diversity, inclusion type piece where we're not just talking about ethnicity, religion, we're talking about different types of learners and being able to include all types of learners and teach to all types of learners. So
that's kind of where I'm going with strengths, needs, assets, and interests. Because you're looking, assets could be cultural assets, community assets, all of that stuff.
Inclusive.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many words that it's hard to narrow it down into just a couple.
Yeah, I know. It's a difficult one because I do see, I agree with Chris's point, though. If we put diverse in there, I feel like everybody's going to focus on the ethnicity, religious part of that, as opposed to the different learner type of that, which I think is a huge one because we're not looking at race or color or religion when we're in school. We're looking at how students learn and the best way to teach them so that they learn the best. So I think that's where the focus should be on that.
So maybe something having to do with learning styles, something.
Or individualized learning.
Yeah, individual learning style or
individual. Well, I think it goes beyond just styles. Like, I like that. Individual.
But you're sensitive to individual culture, really. Like, I feel like is like, right? Because, you know, how you learn, how you live your life, who's in your family or not in your family, or what community you live in, all that stuff, right? That's what I guess that's what I'm trying to.
I know. How do you have that? How do you have an umbrella wording that includes everything?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I said global at first.
All of the above.
What about we kind of, because we've got 5 up there now. But I also feel like if we did inclusive and authentic individual learning methods, because they kind of go hand in hand, because you have to be authentic when you're doing an inclusive program.
Or at least you hope you are, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And I can't decide if I want to capitalize everything or not, I guess.
Go for it. I do.
Yeah, I know. My boss is always yelling at me for capitalizing everything in my documents. Like, it's really emphasizing my point.
So let's go back up to the top here and the characteristics of a good mission statement. Sorry, if you can hear a rumbling, I got a dog on my lap. I'm scratching an ear and he's grunting. Kind of weird. It's going to get picked up on the mic, I'm sure.
All I can hear is Finding Nemo in the background, so you're good.
So we've talked about like short and memorable. You know, we got a couple of short phrases there. Are verbs powerful? They're not.
You have building qualities.
Well, in the bottom bold one,
okay.
empowering, problem solvers, innovators. There's not really a verb there, but creating or
Molding.
molding. I mean, mold your little brain.
Facilitating problem solving.
Preparing.
Well, I like facilitating.
Facilitating?
Yeah, because we don't want to take over the environment and have teacher-led stuff. We want to facilitate it so students
it's not
by themselves.
Yeah, we don't want to do a sit and get, you know.
Coaching or guiding instead of necessarily. I think facilitating might be a little bit more of like a meeting word. If I tell people I facilitate a Bible study, they usually, you know, get a little nervous. But if I tell them I guide a Bible study, they tend to be a little like more like, oh, so you just help things move along.
Yeah.
You know, or like coaching, it's the same thing, you know. Kids tend to, you know, like their team coaches, right? You know, get pretty excited about it.
Unless they're on my team, then they.
I don't know. In all of this, I'm working up destination, imagination, mission statement because that's what they do. Create an environment in which kids have to problem solve and be innovators. So, like, maybe they have a good word.
Hey, yeah, it's good. Look stuff up.
Well, so their mission statement is engage participant in project-based challenges that are designed to build confidence and develop extraordinary creativity, critical thinking, communication, and teamwork skills.
What about like something about a growth mindset? That's a buzzword. Growth mindset.
Yeah. Continual growth. Do we have something about community problem solvers?
Yeah, I don't know what a verb interviews would be, and then we have to have 5 short statements. I do kind of like the growth mindset because that's I can have so many kids that get a math problem wrong and they just completely shut down because it's wrong. So my whole behavior management philosophy is creating that growth mindset and that it's okay to get a problem wrong. Let's look at what you did to get it wrong because we learn from those mistakes. And I think that's important to just developing successful students and adults.
I don't know, resilient.
Oh, I like that, Chris.
Liz, you gotta get on Twitter. I'm just getting this all. It's everything I read on Twitter in the past 24 hours.
I have a Twitter account. I've used it once in my entire life. It's just sitting out there now doing nothing.
Follow educators and superintendents. You get it all. This is just everything I read in the past 24 hours.
But resilient. So many students that shut down when things are hard or challenging or.
I feel like you could almost say empowering resilient student-centered learners, because you want them to be resilient, moving past that, right? That's part of that learning process, right? They make a mistake, the way behavior modification works is there's a right or wrong answer, and many kids, especially before kindergarten, a lot of skills are learned that way, yes or no, and their brains really function that way. But as they get to that kindergarten age, they start to have a little more complex thinking, right? So they're just starting to learn those things, right? So I guess I feel like that makes sense because you want them to learn. What's one thing you learn at school is how to get a wrong answer and move past it. I feel like that's a really important thing that you do learn outside of your home environment. There's a lot less control for that student on all those other outside factors. Where at home, there might be people around to help, things like that. So I do really like that, that resilience.
So do we want to add that, empowering resilient student-centered learners? We can do that. Chris, what else are you twittering now?
Actually, no. I just got an email that Perseverance is landing on Mars in 2 weeks. And I just got all these YouTube links on how to watch it for elementary students, leveled for elementary students, countdown to landing, middle school students, high school students. And I think that's the one I'm on. You could sign up to get your name on a microchip.
Oh, yeah.
And so you'd end up in Mars. So
I thought you were just getting thrown up in Mars.
no, I wish. So does my wife.
What about the word resourceful?
I think that kind of ties in with problem solving and innovators.
Yeah, I really like the problem solving innovators, and I also like the inclusive, authentic learners. I don't know if I think individual learning might be as much as we want to include an individual in that, I feel like it's too wordy.
I agree.
All right, so inclusive and authentic learning methods.
So should we come up with verbs for problem solving and inclusive and authentic learners? Like we have building community, we have empowering, resilient, and student-centered learners.
You know what? This doesn't say that we have to come up with it says recommend 5 short, big thoughts of your group.
Okay. Then we don't have to worry about
No, we'll let somebody else worry about creating the verbs.
We'll just give some ideas and someone else can put it in a nice package.
Well, do you remember what Tracy said? Tracy Tarasic said last time? It was like they spent half a day wordsmithing, like just the quotes or something. It was.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
I would just leave. I couldn't spend a whole half of my day arguing with that. I could not do that.
Oh, you haven't spent time with teachers.
Yes, I have. That's why I don't work for a school. My mother-in-law was actually the director of human resourcing for like 2 big districts outside of
nice.
Detroit. Yeah. So no, I know for
HR.
sure.
Human resources is where it's at. Those are the cool people.
Man. Yeah. So I know what I want to do with my life, and it's not that.
No. Do we want to throw anything else on there? I know our time is short. I know everybody's probably got to get up and stretch those legs.
Yeah.
Use the little people room and grab some agua or whatever. Got you going tonight.
I'm happy with what we have. I feel like we all work.
I think we've got some really good working ideas with this.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good stuff
What
to
I'll
give them.
do-
And I bet that the other groups are probably going to say similar things, based on how they summed everything up from last time. I was like, well, I know we talked about that in our group too. And
No.
So, Christy, you want to paste this into the form, or I can?
Yeah, I'll copy and paste it over.
Okay. All right.
So what am I presenting? Am I just presenting our little bolded statements there?
Yes, I think so.
Sure. Whatever he asks for when we get back.
I don't think anyone really knows, but you'll know when you get there.
Just shoot from the hip. It's all good.
There's group 6. Oh, wait.
Yes.
I think there's 7. There's 7 groups. So if he starts at the end, you got 1 group in front of you. You got start at group 1 or group 7. We got 1 group going ahead of us. If you start at group 1, we got 5 other groups to model off of.
I'm a teacher. I can make it up if I need to.
You got it. All right. We'll see you all. Does everybody know how to get back to the main meeting?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
If not, rescue me. Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.